Matt Gaetz appeared on Tucker Carlson's show to discuss the releasing of the footage from January 6th. All of the remaining footage, Kevin McCarthy apparently is helping to initiate the process of releasing them. And Matt Gaetz went on to Tucker Carlson to talk about that and kind of play into the, sorry for hitting my mic there, conspiracies about what they're going to see in the remaining footage and the fact that actually the FBI was involved in making January 6th happen and it was Antifa and whatever. Okay, you've heard all the conspiracies, but here's this interview and then we'll talk about why this actually might not go the way that Matt Gaetz expects.
Bravo, Speaker McCarthy. This was not an agreement that we had at the beginning of last week, but as the week progressed, Speaker McCarthy, to his great credit, understood this was important to a great many of us. And when we get this 14,000 hours out, we're going to be able to see the extent to which the federal agents and assets that were present that day may or may not have increased the level of criminal acuity. We're going to be able to see their coordination with one another. And we're also going to be able to see if there's exculpatory evidence that would show that people never intended to violate a law, even though they might have been technically out of compliance with whatever the standard was at that time based on the vice president's movements that they probably weren't aware of anyway. It is interesting, though, that at every time from the JFK files to 9/11 to now January 6th, it's our own government, it's our own Department of Justice that seems to stand in the way of transparency. The Speaker of the House is now fulfilling the commitment he made to us, and he deserves a great deal of credit for it.
So many things to go through there, and then we'll get to an interesting Newsweek article about how this might backfire. But there's a million reasons why certain things should be kept private in different situations. He mentioned the JFK assassination. A lot of that has, over the years, been being made public more and more, but there's just sensitive material in so many of these types of situations. But again, as that has become more transparent, the story has not changed much from the initial account. But with this, it's interesting because he said, I'm thinking that this could show that the intention of some of these individuals was not to violate the law, something to that effect. How? How is a video of them beating in the face of a cop going to show you that they actually meant to defend the cop or something? Really, really strange. And again, it's this situation where the asking of the questions is the benefit to them. The questioning of the official narrative is very interesting to their audience, but then the tapes, if they end up coming out, will come out and nothing will change with our understanding of January 6th, except for maybe just seeing more of the horrific stuff that happened. And they won't come out and say, you know what, I was wrong. I was pushing for this, thinking it was going to show that really secretly Joe Biden was dressed up as a Trump supporter and was the real one doing it. It won't show that. And when it doesn't, they won't admit that it doesn't show what they wanted it to, what they were saying it was going to show. And there are just a list of conspiracies. They all change and they're contradictory. Initially, people were saying, oh, this was actually Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters. And then it was, no, they're treating the Trump supporters who attacked the Capitol badly, but I thought they were Antifa, and these were actually patriots, and they were great, and they weren't being violent. Okay, they were being violent, but again, it's Antifa, and also FBI agents made Trump supporters do it, but they weren't Trump supporters, they were Antifa, so the FBI agents made the Antifa soldiers who were dressed up as Trump supporters do this, and then they turned into Trump supporters when they went to jail, and now they're being treated bad. So maybe we'll figure all of that out when the rest of these tapes come out. Who knows? But here's this interesting piece from Newsweek that is titled, Kevin McCarthy's Promise Could Backfire Spectacularly for Republicans. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has vowed to release the security footage from the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol in its entirety in what may yet turn out to be a risky move. And instead of reading through all of this, the just so we get through this in a reasonable amount of time, is that this might actually, it will give more attention to January 6th once again, and more attention to how in the wrong the Trump supporters were, how in the wrong the far right was in this whole situation in motivating all of this. And maybe we get even more details, specifics about why that is. And so this could completely be the opposite of what these far-right individuals think it will be. But either way, we'll see how it goes. Make sure to be following me on Instagram at Luke Beasley Official.